I am live from Jupiter, Florida. So last night was the first show that I did live from Jupiter. I had my sound I heard was a little fugazi, as we say in New York, but I'll get that fixed. I just forgot to put the microphone. I was probably going through the microphone on the laptop instead. 2 whole people in the chat, 0 thumbs up. Where is everyone? I guess everyone's going to be coming very soon once they hear Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, Coffee with Cannon is live on the air from Jupiter, Florida. Wow, just lost one. I spoke too soon. No, I didn't actually. They just came back. I'm not seeing anyone on the screen from all over the world. Let's pop up on the screen. Let's a little chatting. Where's the chats going? So yeah, I've been down here since, I don't know if you know of my journey I took with my son. We drove, Mezzy Mom is here. Good to see you, Mezzy Mom. I drove here on a Thursday morning, we left. And that Thursday we drove for 15 hours straight. And we made it to Florida. Andrew DeGroot, hiya Billy Boy, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. We made it to Jacksonville. So that was a 15-hour drive. And I couldn't have accomplished that without my son, who did, I think, 9 out of the 15 hours. Tana, family memories. Good. Oh, how was everyone's Halloween last night? It didn't seem like it was Halloween here, but did anyone go to the West Village? Mizzy Mom, goddaughter moved to Miami in July, gotta make a trip. Absolutely, especially when the weather in New York is cold and shitty. Desiree Parker, hi from Mulberry, Florida. Well, I don't know where that is, but I'm in Jupiter right now. And after this show, I think I'm going to take a ride down to the beach, which is only 0.6 of a mile from here. How amazing is that? You can walk it, but I got to bring some chairs and some stuff down there. So I think I'll take a little bit of a ride down there. And the water looks unbelievable. Unbelievable. Diane Krause, hello, how are you? Sherilyn Schaffner, all my buddies coming in. Kim Allison, hi Sergeant Bill, good to see you. Thank you for the show yesterday about, yeah, Abby Williams. Yeah, I'm gonna touch upon that again. Pauline Buckles, 31 in the chat, 15 with the thumbs up. Candy Scarrett, Newport Marina, good morning from Oregon coast. Wow. Unbelievable, Oregon coast. So I know Mark DeMeo did a show about Paul Pelosi yesterday. What do you guys think of that? It seems a little bit strange. I don't think the mainstream media is wanting to dig into that case. They're afraid, I think, of what they will find. No doubtedly, the guy's a psycho, the guy who broke into his house. But I think there could be some other factors around in there. And then, of course, you bring that up, people are like, oh, it's a right-wing conspiracy. This guy wasn't a right-winger, you know. Mickey Mantle, hello, how are you, buddy? Mezimam, very strange Pelosi story, not too far from us. Yeah, I mean, he's an illegal alien from Canada. He's a total nutcase. He's a nudist. He came there with zip ties, and he was asking for Nancy Pelosi. He wanted to kneecap her. I mean, that's not a sign of a sane person. That's a sign of a nutcase, you know. And I think that a lot of times news reports, they report through omission. Let's not just say, let's not report this, and maybe people won't find out about it. Michelle Lipscomb, hello. How are you? Good to see you. 53 in the chat, 28 with the thumbs up. Sherilyn Schaffner, he's a total wacko. Of course he is. But then people are like trying to connect this wackadoo to January 6th. I don't even think the guy knows what date January 6th is, you know? I mean, do you guys remember when Congressman Steve Scalise was shot almost to death on playing softball? And if not for his bodyguards that killed the attacker, he and other people would have been killed. He wasn't the only one shot, but I think he was the most seriously. And they quickly buried that story. The guy was a follower of Bernie Sanders, and I don't even know if the Times reported it, you know. But yeah, is the vitriol in politics out of, crazy? Yeah, it is. It is. And do they need to turn the temperature down? Absolutely. Absolutely. Sandra H., hello. Nano for Life, good morning, everybody. 59 in the chat, 32 with the thumbs up. Sleuth and C. Wow. Sleuth and C, good to see you. The weather here is just, you're going to get tired of me saying that, but it's just incredibly beautiful. Sandra H., hey Kim, hey Mill Civilian. Mary Arnold, hi Bill in chat. So good to see all you folks in the chat. It's only coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage, bitching with Bill, whatever you want to call it, but here we all are in not in another time zone, we're in the same time zone, we're just in the southernmost time zone, or not southernmost, but pretty far. True Crime with Shannon, yes, this is my Florida backyard. There's a grill here, there's a table, it's fenced in. Mezima, we salute our Supreme Commander. Thank you so much. Again, I have a meeting with Josh this Thursday to talk about those Supreme Commander coffee mugs and to get them out to you guys as quick. MC's Audio, look at that. Mike Cologne. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched Mike Cologne's shows. He's really a brilliant broadcaster. He does some really good shows. Tales from the Boom Boom Room. He does a lot of stories about FDNY. He does a lot of stories about emergency service on the NYPD. Solved by Lucia Regina Varela. Milwaukee Civilian, can you discuss the new merch, anything more than coffee mugs? Yeah, we're going to try to put the Supreme Commander logo on some other stuff, but I'm going to have that meeting with Josh on Thursday to discuss it, and hopefully we'll come up with a bunch of new things, and you guys can confidently walk around your neighborhood with Supreme Commander merchandise. What do you think about that? Pretty good? 54 in the chat, 40 with the thumbs up. Where's all my folks from Europe? Where's all my Australians? Where's all my South Africans? I'm waiting to see you guys. Some of the folks I haven't seen, the Great Britain people, where are they? Pauline Buckles says she would like a coffee mug. Sergeant Bill, can we order merchandise from the UK? The merchandise would come from the US. So, see, the problem with a lot of this merchandise is the biggest obstacle to buying it is how much it costs to ship. It's ridiculous. If you ship a coffee mug, it could cost like $12 to $16 to ship the damn mug. Brent Montgomery, hello buddy, good to see you. So I want to talk a little bit about the press conference yesterday for the Delphi murders. Such a horrible case, 5.5 years ago. I believe the date was February 13th, 2017. These two young girls walking in that park are ordered to go down the hill. In fact, that was what was recorded on the cell phone of Libby German. Down the hill, and that was recorded. And of course, the video of the perpetrator that took 5.5 years, and I don't know specifically if the matching up that video is what led to the arrest of this guy, Ricky Allen. And I wouldn't doubt, and again, they're being very, 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 very tight-lipped, and I don't blame them. I cheered the department there, the Indiana State Police, for keeping their lips sealed, because being open with the press and leaking all the information, the evidence, it can only hurt the case, and we want to only help the case at this point. Some of the things I think they said, we still want tips, we still want to hear. Could there be other people involved in this? You bet. You bet there absolutely could be other people involved in this. And they don't want, if that's the case, they don't want any of these people to get away. So transparency. How important is transparency with the press? Is that going to help the case? Look, in law enforcement, you want to use the press to your ends to help the case. Twanda Sue, seems like a lot of the sheriffs and police chiefs are becoming very emotional over all these horrendous child murders. You know, guys, I wanted to say something. Someone in the chat yesterday said, why did you have to mention God or the Lord having anything to do with this? She goes, I just want facts. I'm gone. And basically I said, bye-bye, see ya. You know, if someone doesn't understand the relationship of a higher power with the murder of two little girls and how detectives and investigators are taken in, and the only thing that can explain something so horrific like that is a higher power, and the fact that the higher power has enabled them with the skills to be able to do this amazing job and to bring someone and arrest someone in and bring them in to answer for this case. So if someone says, you know, it has nothing to do with God or like that, you know something, you're free to leave. I don't want you on my channel subscribing, and you probably don't want me, all right? So that person, if they're listening, please go to another channel that doesn't feel this way, because I've been there. I've been in law enforcement. I've seen little babies murdered. I've seen young little kids murdered. I've seen adults murdered. And in order to help yourself deal with that, you need to believe that there is a higher power. And if you don't, again, there's tons of other podcasts, and you can go on one of those. You know, so that's just my answer to that. And I had mentioned yesterday that the press conference, specifically the superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Doug Carter, he could be the Delphi police. It was a very spiritual presentation. You could see how upset he was. He was upset, even though he was sniffling. He appeared to have a cold or something. He was very deliberate, and he was very much presenting how difficult this case was by the investigators. And he mentioned a lot of the investigators and what they've been through over the last 5.5 years. I mentioned yesterday that, you know, I said to Phil Grimaldi, I said, you know, in 5.5 years, a lot of things happen. If you're an investigator, someone close to you probably has died in 5.5 years. Maybe a daughter or a son graduated high school or elementary school or college or had some tremendous accomplishment. Life goes on. Maybe your daughter or your son got married, you know. Maybe your daughter or your son got admitted to a great college, and you're very proud of that. So as you're investigating this horrific case of these two young girls, at the time 13 and 14 years old, life goes on, you know, and you're living your life as you should be, you know. Ruth Ann Griffin, hello, Ruth. Good to see you. Good to see you. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. If you're not subscribed, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring that bell. Ring my bell, ring my bell. And if you want to contribute to us, we have a Patreon with 3 different levels, and we also have a YouTube channel membership with 5 different levels, and you can subscribe. You see the folks in the chat in the green font, they're part of our YouTube channel membership. So we thank them, and we salute them for helping support us. 79 people in the chat, 58 with the thumbs up. Cecilia Davis, I'm subscribed. Well, thank you, Cecilia. I see a lot of folks in here that are subscribed, and we're trying to grow this channel, and the best way to do it is to we need to see a day in the life featuring Bill Cannon. You know, one of the days I'm going to take this gimbal, I'm going to do a walk along the beach, the Juneau Beach, and I'll show you guys what it looks like over there. It's just drop dead gorgeous, as they say. Okay, let's get back to the Delphi case. I mean, can you imagine a case that is more emotional for the investigators and for the family? 2 young girls murdered at the age of 13 and 14. 13 and 14-year-olds. Sleuth NC, welcome to the bucket. Thank you, thank you. You know, the families in 5.5 years. Abby would have been 18.5 years old. Libby would have been 19.5 years old. But guess what? Neither one of them ever got to live past that day, past 13.5 years old, past 14 years old. They never got to live. Do we know how they were murdered? No. I think the police was so good in this case in keeping things quiet. They kept that quiet all these years, and we don't know. Someone in the chat yesterday put something horrendous, and I wouldn't even repeat it. And I don't know where he got that information from, and I won't repeat it. But they're slowly, I would think they'll slowly let information out. But when they spoke yesterday about they wouldn't even release the arrest warrant and what was in the arrest warrant, and then the affidavit. Sandra H., I can hear that engine too. There's nothing I can do about it. I can tell him, turn it, there, he's taking off. There goes the diesel engine. Rocella Pranzo, good to see you. Sleuth and C, welcome to Police Off the Cuff. Recommended this channel so much. We have some lovely friends here. That's great. 86 in the chat, 67 with the thumbs up. We got to bust way over 100. The other day I had over 200 in here. Patrick Glanville, you in Florida for winter? I would like to. I think I'm going to go back and forth. I have to set this this place up to do my show. Right now, there's nothing that indicates it's Police Off the Cuff real crime stories. It's just bare walls. So I have to set it up, and I'm going to be doing that. You know, I ordered some stuff. I got to make it comfortable so I can do the show. So yeah, for this Delphi case, there was a double homicide task force. And there was quite a few people in there. A district attorney who seems extremely serious over this case and controls the leaks. After all, how are you? 89 in the chat, 71 thumbs up. We need 11 more for 100, guys. Let's bust out over 100. Where's my Great Britain people? Let's get the Great Britain. Milwaukee Civilian, Tasty Lozenge. I'm just having it's, what is it called? A Ricola. When you talk a lot, it's like you need to keep your throat wet, you know, and water just doesn't do it. After all, just gave my thumbs up. Cool, cool, cool. 95 in the chat, 75 with the thumbs up, 96. So good to see all you people. After all, it says hello, hi, fellow fans. So this case was Catherine D. from the UK. This case was baffling, you know. Doesn't it seem like a case like this where they catch the killer on video and they get the killer's voice on audio, that it would be a cakewalk? Oh, we're going to solve this so easy. Andy the Gabby Cabby, hey buddy, how are you? Good to see you, Andy. Lots of UK people. This is a magnificent fan base. 98 in the chat, 78 with the thumbs up. What's going on, Bill? Hope all well. Richard Resendez, doing well, Richard. Thank you for asking, buddy. 100, we hit 100 in the chat, 80 with the thumbs up. So yeah, this case has been 5.5 years, and as I said, you would think when they had video of this and when they had audio, that many in the true crime community would say, oh, how come they can't solve this? This is so easy, blah, 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 blah. I didn't cover this case from the beginning. I was aware of it. I just never covered it. There's been a lot of people on YouTube. There's been a lot of people, content creators. There's one particular guy who does cold cases, and I'm trying to think of his name right now. But I thought he did an exceptional job. Gladys DePizzo, hello. Susan Z, hi Sergeant Bill. Paul Ward, I absolutely love that they've taken their time building a strong case, leaving no stone unturned. You know what I'm thinking, guys? I'm thinking that there has to be some familial DNA in this case. Like, they have to have DNA. And if you followed, they're not saying a lot about Richard Allen, the arrested perpetrator in this case. But they have said that he doesn't have a criminal history. So could they have almost like 23andMe and these Ancestry.com, could they have used one of those sites to identify someone that was a close DNA match to the killer? Because they didn't have Richard Allen's DNA because he wasn't arrested. If you guys know about the collection of DNA, there's certain felonies that you have to be convicted of. There may be even some misdemeanors now. And it goes into a database called CODIS. That stands for Combined DNA Identification System. And Richard Allen apparently has never been arrested for, therefore he's not in that database. So how did they make a match to him? What was the evidence that they had that linked this case to him? One of the real terrifying things when you think of future murder investigations. Sandra H., do they need a search warrant to take the DNA? Yes, they would. However, you can obtain DNA surreptitiously. And I'll use that big college word. And what do I mean by that? Well, someone could follow Richard Allen around, and if he spits or smokes a cigarette or drinks a soda and throws it out, grab the can, grab the cup. You can get DNA from a discarded item because the law says that if someone throws something out, they no longer have the expectation of privacy in regards to that item. So that the word law enforcement will use is they surreptitiously obtain the DNA. Is that the case? I don't know. But they don't have to specifically let the suspect know that he's a suspect, collect the DNA surreptitiously. And if it's a match, boom. And it's perfectly good. It's perfectly legal to do that. They've done that in the past. The worst kind of criminal is the one pretending to be good, and one of us, it's betrayal. 100%. Look, this guy, he was not a pharmacist. He was what was described as a pharmacy tech. I don't know what he did in the pharmacy. He worked in a pharmacy. But he lived in that community. He took part. The family apparently knew him from that drugstore. He took part in the search for Libby and Abby. How horrific is that? He took part in the search. Crazy. I mean, as this case moves forward, we, the folks that are following it, will really like to see. He developed photos for the German family. Yes, True Crime with Shannon. I had read that also. How horrible is it that they've had, for them, that they've had prior contact with this guy, and to know that the killer of their daughter has been around all the time, a member of the community. Has to be horrific, right? 120 in the chat, 92 with the thumbs up, guys. Thank you for coming by. Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon. Again, if you're not subscribed to us, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, and you could support us either on our Patreon or our YouTube channel memberships. Well, our family is growing all the time, and we appreciate all you guys from all over the place, across the pond. Oh my God, don't make me do me British accent because it's so horrific. Andy the Gabby Cabby, I leave him to do the real British accent, right? Andy the Gabby Cabby. So the Carroll County prosecutor talked a bit yesterday. And again, the press, if you watch the press conference, it was rather brief in the information they gave. I don't think they're looking to give a lot of information out. Closed-lipped. What's that old expression? Loose lips sink ships. That is so true, you know. My whole life, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. So my ships were sinking sometimes. I had a big mouth a lot, you know. And if you can really keep your mouth shut a lot, it'll serve you much better than having loose lips, right? Because it's so true. Loose lips do sink ships. In fact, whenever someone goes on the police department and they ask me for for a piece of advice on how to survive in the police department, I give them that piece of advice. I said, first of all, mind your own business, and second of all, keep your mouth shut. Loose lips sink ships. And Julie Moreski, love your New York accent. Thank you, Julie. Either people love it or they hate it. I don't know. People love the accent or they hate it. I don't know. Mine is not just New York. It's sort of Sandra H. Bill, I'm like you. I've been called opinionated. Yeah, when you have something to say, you say it. But has that always worked well for you? Hasn't always worked well for me. Sometimes I open my big mouth when I should keep it shut, you know. Patricia Burns, you sound just like an Italian. Yeah, well, that's that street. But I was going to say, my accent isn't just New York City. I grew up on Long Island, and there's a very distinct, different accent for Long Islanders than there is for people from New York City. Alicia B, hello at Unsolved Crimes Uncovered. Hey, Kim Allison, Patricia Burns is saying hello to Kim. Good to see you. I'm so glad so many of you guys are friends. Paul Ward, the pictures of blood, but you can make out what's going on, I believe, told the police, and they were, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Cecilia Davis, I follow AWP and Duty Ron, your channel. You know, when the chat starts moving real fast, I neglected to take the Evelyn Woods speed readers course, and I can't read it that quick, so I apologize. Sergeant George Eshaw, good to see you, George. Hello, Supreme Commander, Sergeant Bill. Lorraine McQueenie, Kim Allison, hello, friend, so nice to see you. 129 in the chat, 106 with the thumbs up. We're doing okay here, guys. You know, I mentioned last week we had the Debbie Collier case, and I find that case to be baffling too, but there's no way I think that case... Bill, are you following the Valva trial? I've been covering it, True Crime with Shannon. I haven't been, you know, I can only follow so many cases. I haven't been following that case. I'll take a look at it. You know, the Debbie Collier case, they were trying to talk people into last week saying that Lovebug 53, you're awesome, Bill. Thank you so much. Sergeant Bill, did the kids come trick-or-treating yesterday? Not in Florida. They did in New York. They did in New York, but not in Florida. For those new to it, it's Thomas Valva. That's the guy who abused and murdered his kid. Wouldn't even feed his kid. He was a former NYPD. I can't even cover a case like that. 136 in the chat, 115 with the thumbs up, guys. Mamma Mia, love this channel. Great energy here. Yaya Kelly, was so sad the video Debbie Collier's Don put out, and I don't believe for mine it was an accident or self-harm. Yeah, I don't believe that at all. There's just too many, you know, one of the biggest indicators of suicide is someone's mental state of mind. And it didn't appear that she had a suicidal state of mind. It seemed like she was quite happy, unless I'm missing something. And also her actions prior to her losing her life inside those woods there, it doesn't suggest suicide to me. So I don't know where that's coming from. And the fact that the police seem to be taking some kind of new direction to that case, I'm not really buying it, you know, not buying it at all. So as soon as Patricia Burns, her daughter coming back, have been the last straw for her. You know, that's the other thing. When the local police said that after the daughter had received the money from Debbie, they backed away from the daughter. Why did you back away? You should have been bearing down, not backing away. You should have been going at her even harder, pulling her in, grilling her, getting her in the box, find out what the hell she was talking about. You know, and all the information, this cell site information that they should have now, we don't know the results of that. You know, where was everyone at the specific times in question? I know everyone in the beginning kept saying, oh, the accident she had a month ago with that parolee. That would have been the first thing the police would have slammed the door shut on. They would have investigated that guy. They would have found out if he had an alibi. They would have found out if his alibi was rock solid, and they would have cleared him. And I think that's what they did, because you never heard them talking about him after the early part of the case. Then they stopped talking about him. So I don't think he's a viable suspect anymore. Patricia Burns, after all, in the week of Kylie, I knew she had driven into the water, and I knew exactly where. Patricia Burns, there's not so many, I think, with Kylie Rodney. I think more people now have accepted what happened and have, understood the fact that the cause of death was drowning, and the manner of death was an accident. People did not want to accept that. 141 in the chat, 118 with the thumbs up, guys. Let's bust past 150. The local Ruth Ann Griffin, hello, Kim Alston. After all, Patricia Burns. So that case, I think we can pretty much shut the door on it now. There's cases, I think, that will always come back to haunt us, Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. Will that case ever be closed in the minds of all the people that followed that case? I mean, it's just a horrific case that no one ever wants to forget about, because it was so sad. It was such a waste, right? Crazy. But, with the, when they spoke about yesterday in the press conference for the Delphi murders, let me regress back to that case. Did they maybe start getting smart and not saying anything? I feel like there's so much that I don't know. I think with this Delphi murder case, right from the very beginning, the police took the posture of keeping it zipped. And believe me, that helps the case. And the NYPD, they really overdid it in releasing stuff to the press, to having the transparency with the press. And it absolutely hurt the case. Releasing too much information to the press, it hurts the witness pool, and it hurts the suspect pool. When you get John R. Bear, hey Bill, how are you? Good. Oh snap, I saw a stream last week. Good to see all you guys. Some of you folks I haven't seen in a while. Great to see you back on the channel. 146 in the chat, 124 with the thumbs up. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep this going. So in the press conference yesterday, they said to keep the tips coming in. What is that indicative of? Keep calling into the tips line. I think that's indicative of the fact that they think there may be other suspects in this case. Yaya Kelly, back in the early 20th century, they used to allow the press to the crime scene. My God. Could you imagine today's attorneys, the field day they would have with that? John Albert, yes, I am in Florida this week, in Jupiter, Florida. Darrell Brooks isn't even from Wisconsin. The juror, 1960, hello, Bill, hope you and the family are doing well. Doing very well, the juror, 1963. Man, I'd be the juror, 1956, if that's your year of birth. Wow, 19. Guys, I said it yesterday, if you weren't listening yesterday. Yesterday, October 31st, Halloween, was my 11-year anniversary of retiring from the NYPD. It's unbelievable. 11 years. Look how fast that goes, But when you say, oh, it went so fast, but then when you think, Rocky, how are you, buddy? After all, Sergeant Mill, have you been on jury duty? I got called once, but every time I get called, they don't use me. So I have to sit in the jury audience for a few days, and then they don't use me, and they send me on my way. Jerry, December 1963, getting old. Hey, the alternative isn't even an option, right? Doodle Mom, making lunch for your boys. Good for you. Congrats. Don't blink. That's for sure. 160 in the chat. 131 with the thumbs up, guys. Betty Spaghetti. Betty Spaghetti is saying the odds of this guy, Richard Allen, meeting these two girls on that bridge that day. You're saying, Betty Spaghetti, that it was planned, that he thought about it. May have even laid in wait for them, you know. But, well, how did he know that they were going there that day? But maybe he laid in wait for any two young girls. Maybe this was a crime of opportunity, and it didn't matter who the two girls were, you know. Look, just a horrific crime. Could anyone even imagine losing children like this? Two young girls, 13 and 14. They say when a parent loses a child, and by any means, disease, accident, murder, they'll never ever get over it. Because parents aren't supposed to outlive their children, right? And I know there's probably folks in the chat, and God bless you if this happened, that this has happened to, you know. And it's just, parents are not supposed to outlive their kids, for sure. Doodle Mom, prayers for Libby and Abby. Absolutely, absolutely. Rocky from LA. So this case, yeah, we're gonna stay with it. We're gonna hear what they have to say. I think the posture they have of keeping this a closed mouth investigation, I don't think they're gonna change. I think they're gonna keep the mouth zipped shut because it's worked for them thus far, right? After all, at Sleuth and See, I think so. It's a pedo ring. After all, what are you referring to? Mickey Mill, Sergeant Mill, can I ask, do you have a particular fall and soft crime you were involved? You know, I don't really. Not to say like I'm this super sleuth, but there were big crimes in Manhattan North. And the one that took 20-something years, there was two of them. One was Baby Hope, and that was the baby that was put in a cooler, in a you know, like a beer cooler, and discovered. And they solved that 20-something years after the case, and that was solved in a big way through familial DNA. And then the other one, and I didn't work on any of these, either one of these cases that I'm going to refer to. The other one was Eton Patz, that got national and international attention. And that was a boy down in the East Village that just disappeared off the street. And a couple of years ago, they solved the Eton Patz case, and the killer actually confessed to it. And they got closure for the family. It may have been like 30 years after the fact. Someone was just saying in the chat that she thinks that Richard Allen had hope. Excuse me, had help. Because how else could he have handled two young girls at the same time without one of them running? Well, they could have been so terrified that they just agreed to do what he demanded, you know. Could he have been pointing a knife at them or a gun, and they could have just been terrified, too terrified to run away? Could there have been another perpetrator? Absolutely, absolutely. But does that necessarily mean there was another perpetrator? No, I don't think so. I don't think it necessarily means that. But it does absolutely mean that they have to keep investigating this. They can't just give this up like this case is solved. You know, I would always like to know too, when they arrested him, did he immediately invoke counsel? And that means, guys, if a suspect or perpetrator invokes counsel, that means the person does not want to speak with the police. He does not want to be interviewed. And the police can't interview him. I would like to know that. It seems like he probably did invoke counsel because they weren't talking about any statements he may or may not have made. These young girls probably knew Richard and knew he said guys down the hill, they obeyed. I would scream in hopes. I think it's always best to resist. I swear to God, to resist, and in this case, to run away. If one of them got away, basically they both would got away because he would have to take off and give up his idea of doing what he was going to do. They always speak about Eliza Fletcher. How horrendous of a case was that? Jogging on the street, the guy kidnaps her off the street, and she fought so hard he murdered her right in the truck. But if she would have submitted, would she have fared any better? I don't think so. I always tell the horrific potentiality of someone that points a gun at you and says, "Get in the car." What should you do in that point? Do not get in that car. Run. That's your shot right there. The guy may not shoot because he doesn't want to raise up anyone that might be around. And the guy may be a bad shot and miss you. That is your chance to run. Do not get in that car. Everything that happens after you get in that car is bad, is horrendous, And I don't care what any other security consultant tells you, you do what I tell you. Do never, ever. I hope if this saves one person's life throughout the country, throughout the world, then this was worth it. Do never get in a car with someone that tries to forcibly force you into a car. Run. That is the exact point that you run. Exact point, right? Do not wait. Do not listen to these liberals to say you do what he says, he might hurt you. No, that's the point. You run. You take off, all right? If you know anything about the mentality of a criminal, criminals understand force, they understand getting caught, and they understand you taking off and seeing the back of you running away, all right? And what are they going to do? They're going to take off too, because they're more concerned with getting away than capturing you at that point, The Juror 63, if you get in a car, you have a 99.4% chance of getting killed. I agree with you. I don't know if that's the exact percentage, but you are 100% right. Betty Spaghetti, Mary Gold, welcome to the bucket. A new member. 2 new members during the show. That's so great. Yaya Kelly, hey, I'm a liberal and smart enough to never get in a car. Good. I'm glad some liberals are coming around to our point of view. I want liberals. I love liberals too. And I want liberals to be saved too from crazy people that try to force them into a car, So, yeah, guys, just to understand about how spiritual these cases are, Vernon Gebert, and I mentioned him numerous times, he's the author, a retired NYPD squad commander, and he's the author of a book called Practical Homicide Investigation, which at one point used to be the Bible of homicide investigation throughout the nation. And in his book, he says clearly, Amanda Lottie doesn't go out at night alone anymore. Well, it's always good to have someone accompany you, It's, look, down in Florida, my car, I'm strapped. I'm strapped coming down here. I have a legal gun permit. I have something called HR 218, which entitles me to carry in any state in the union. But I'm not looking to get into any trouble. But if trouble finds me, I want trouble to have a problem, Bernadette, no liberal I know would tell anyone to go in a car with anyone. There's a certain perspective of people. They used to say, if someone points a gun at you and asks for your money, don't ever resist. They're right. Give them what they want. But if they start telling you they want you to get in their car or they want you to do this or do that, boom. That's the time you resist, and that's the time you say, no, I'm not doing that. Or that's the time you don't say anything, you just talk with your feet and you start to run, London Girl, I've missed the show. Oh, well, we'll be here for a few more minutes. Amanda Lottie, that's good to have in a worst case scenario. Mezzy Mom, I want trouble to have a problem. Exactly. Yes, you got trouble right here in River City with a capital T that rhymes with P that stands for pool. That was from the show The Music Man. Uh, yeah, Kelly, I'm a liberal, but my husband and I have a pistol. Good for you. Second Amendment all the way, right? Second Amendment. 177 in the chat. 142 with the thumbs up. We got some people jumping on. 179. London Girl, you missed Sergeant Bill. Praise his British audience. He loves you guys. Rosemary J. Sleuth NC. Thank you for the 99 super chat. Duty Ron, I want to buy a Polish My Rack t-shirt. Well, you know how to do it, Duty Ron. Duty Ron is going to go on later. I think he gets addicted to these shows. He loves his audience. He loves the attention. He loves the adulation, the adoration. So he can't get enough. Every day he has to come on and get his love from his channel, you know. After all, yeah, Duty Ron stopped in. Good to see him, man. Good to see him. He's killing it. He's got 141,000 subscribers now. Wow. I need that big show that's going to... I need that big show that's going to catapult me to be a teen idol. I don't mean a teen idol. You know, sometimes I mention the fact that 71% of my audience here at Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories are women and between the ages of 45 and 45 and 65. That's pretty amazing. But you can check out your demographics on YouTube, and they tell you where people are from. They tell you, you know, what times people are listening or how much time they're listening to your show, whether they just do a click and take off. It's pretty cool, you know. And I always thank you ladies, the ladies between 45 and 65. Hey, you're my audience, you know. You're my audience. Thank you so much. After all, Duty Ron has recently been apologizing a lot. He shouldn't. He's awesome. I've never heard him apologize, but it's potentially could be, you know. 182 in the chat, 154 with the thumbs up. Wow. Hi, Follow the Green. Follow the green in your own wood. I love that name. I love that name. Patricia Burns, we are family protectors, so we relate to guys like you. Wow, I feel unimportant now, Bill. Why would you feel unimportant? I was just praising you. You got 141,000 subscribers. Someone said Duty Ron's always apologizing. I said, I never heard him apologize. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm missing it, you know. Duty Ron, I'm not a woman 45 to 65. That's true. That's true. You're not. But I'm just saying the largest part of our audience is that, you know, is 45. A lot of you folks, a lot of you guys are not women 45 to 65. But follow the green in your own wood. Thanks, Bill. It's a long one. Martha M. Minor, hello. Betty Spaghetti, Mesley Mom 70 here. Wow. Wishing B, I'm a woman 45 to 65. Look, everyone's outing themselves here. Women 45 to 65. The biggest part of Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. And thank you guys, and thank you for all supporting me. Lieutenant Pete, hey, about old people. Rocky, a male 64. Yay, you know something? Carol Ostendorf, hi Bill, your intro video is awesome. Thank you. My son Jake actually made that. My son Jake is a film editor, and he's fantastic, and he made us that video. And soon I wanted him to make an outro. The outro is just the off the cuff song, you know, the goodbye song. Off the cuff, one episode just ain't enough. Get a little laughter. What is the word? A little laughter and some, I don't know, I forget the rest of the words, but that my friend wrote that song for us, and we've been using it. Cecilia Davis. Rosemary J, your son is super. Thank you so much. Milwaukee civilian, I'm 35'6", weigh 180 pounds, work out like a beast. I'm very rich and have a full head of wavy black hair. Milwaukee civilian, good for you, buddy. Good for you. I worked out today down here at the gym, my new gym, for the first time, and it felt good to work out. I did a half hour on the pre-core. I pumped some iron. I can't lift heavy anymore. My shoulders, the arthritis in my shoulders, so I just do enough to keep muscle tone, keep it toned. Guys, I already went over 50 minutes, 5-0. I was supposed to say goodbye, and now it's time to say good night. Good night, sleep tight. Now the sun turns out its light. Good night, sleep tight. Dream sweet dreams for you. Dream sweet dreams for me. Close your eyes and I'll close mine. Good night, sleep tight. Have a great day, everyone. That was the Beatles, their lullaby that they wrote. Have a great day, everyone. God bless, and I'll see you very, very soon.